Hello, I am Darby Carver, and I'm most likely to be an artist. So I was born in Tampa, but I moved up to Jacksonville for school. My father was a jeweler and my mom's an abstract painter, so I've always grown up with art in my life. And I'm queer, so I kind of use that outlook to question what society hands to me and interpret it my way rather than what they tell me to think. Joseph Beuys is someone that I cried when I learned about, just because it was so different to me, this meta performance of explaining art to a dead hair as an art piece, which is really just an explanation that there is no explanation for art. And his use of materials being important as well, such as the animal fat or the gold leaf, or references to a shaman persona and also a traumatic plane crash, and the fact that he uses those life experiences constantly in his art was something really inspiring to me. So I borrowed a Tim Hawkinson book from one of my professors and I just never gave it back because I was flipping through the pages and I was so enamored by his big installation work, but then I saw all these like ready-made objects like a soda can and a manila folder, and I was like, why these? And I was reading up on them, and well, they're all clocks. So like the little clasp of the manila folder, those rotate and they keep time. It's a functional clock. And I was so enamored by that, the fact that you wouldn't realize that about these pieces unless you sat there and spent time with them, and that's when I realized that's what I wanted to do with my work as well. Themes within my work include the altering of space, so that's why I lean towards installation and sculpture pieces, human intervention, which is a concept I'll go into later, and pathways, so every meaning of that word, either the physical movement around my pieces, the transportation of people into another space when they're experiencing my work, and also the communication between me and the viewers. Art on display, price non-negotiable, was a performance piece where I laid on the ground with bronze cast tears on my face. The idea of it was that I had been drowned by the weight of my own tears, which was very similar to my art making experience at the time. I felt like I was just putting all of my pent-up emotions on display for other people, and it was a very scary process. Human intervention is the concept that the work needs to be manipulated by humans to be fully understood. This breaks museum boundaries because it's letting us touch the pieces while we're taught not to, even though that's how a lot of people actually learn and interpret things. It's also creating space to spend time with the work, which is really important to me. Welcome Home is the first piece where I feel like human intervention was best displayed. It was a group effort installation where we set up this living room, but once people were invited in the space and sat on it, they realized it made these weird crunching noises because everything was stuffed with trash. We had taken plastic bottles and boxes, and that was entirely all the stuffing for the couch and any of the pillows, all of the drawers as well. So really nobody would know this though if they were in the space, if they were opening things, if they were sitting on things. And that's that concept that I wanted to explore, was how do people interact with my work? What do people take from it? Self-care is the first piece that I feel like material started to matter with my iron works. So this act of pleasure is now made difficult because of how heavy the physical object is. So now material is tying into concept. And those ideas really springboarded this series called Weight Problems, where I iron casted food pieces. So the following slides are some progress from that process. Here is a finished product from the previous photos. This is a 24-pound iron cast cake. So UNF has taught me great skills like welding and working with wood and casting various materials, but the projects I make tend to call for things like nylon stretching or collecting trash or figuring out how to store live bait properly. I want my work to feel like the last words someone said to you. You're trying to remember every detail, like every smell of the moment, but you only have these fragments and your brain fills the gaps in strange ways, and that's that's what I want people to take when they leave from my work. And that's why I started casting the iron food, was that food became this burden, this weight for me. So a pizza felt like it was 24 pounds for me to experience. It was just too much to be taking care of myself at the time. And these are a visual representation of that moment in my life. So with iron pouring, basically we make a mold of the object with resin bonded sand. We pour hot iron into that mold, and then we break that mold away, and you have that object in iron now. This is a little bit of what iron pouring kind of looks like in the process of it. And the sandwich was the last iron food that I casted. So this one weighed 32 pounds. And hopefully will all be displayed together on the same table. Along with the iron food, I hope to have some party objects such as noisemakers and hats for this installation to be titled Help Yourself, kind of to represent this one-man birthday party, which is really disappointing to sit at this table by yourself. But that's where I was in life, was sitting with all of my burdens, all of my problems, and being disappointed at where I was. But hopefully being present at your own little self-pity party leads its way to self-reflection, was the intent behind this. Moving forward, I've been working on a large-scale public piece that's 10 feet tall, so I hope to complete that soon. I want to do more group projects, larger collaboration work, and I've also written a grant application to create a treadle hammer for the shop, so hopefully that goes through. Here's some progress shots from creating that large-scale sculpture for Seaside Park. I wish I could be thanking you all personally, but here I am behind a screen. Thank you for watching on your screens. Here's some of the references from any of my previous slides. Thank you all again.